Joining us now, previewing his big State of the Union speech today, we're live in D.C., Corey Lewandowski, former campaign manager, Trump for president, and also author of the must-read, and I say must-read book, Let Trump Be Trump. You can order on Amazon. I've read it 3 times. It's a lot of fun. In fact, you got to get it because it is one of those books that you're never going to put it down. Let Trump Be Trump. You can get it on Amazon. Corey Lewandowski, good to have you with us, man.
John, it's great to be back with you. Thank you so much.
Now, listen, so yesterday we were in the reception with the president talking a little bit about his State of the Union speech. You know, he looked great. He was in a great mood. He was fired up. He's got a great economic message to be able to tell tonight, and he's going to go straight to the American people. No bias, no New York Times spinning it, no CNN, just him looking straight into the camera. What do you think?
Well, that's where Donald Trump is always the best, and where he is the best is when he does bypass the media and goes directly to the American people. And I think what you're going to see tonight is a president who is going to tout the successes that he's had in his first year, and that includes the strong economic numbers. When you look at real growth for people, when you look at the tax cuts and what they're doing, when you look at unemployment, and specifically in the Hispanic and African-American communities, lowest on recorded levels, you know, he's going to talk about that. He's also going to talk, I think, tonight about the war that we've had on ISIS and the fact that 98% of the territory that they used to control has now been retaken by our forces, and we're bombing the hell out of them on their soil, not on ours. And that's a promise that he made, and that's something he's fulfilling.
Now, let's look at this memo, Corey, that the Republicans voted to release. The president has said that he's going to release it. Also, this alleged memo that probably not too favorable about the DOJ and the FBI. And many say leading to, we just had, who was it, Congressman Francis Rooney on from southwest coast of Florida, who was one of the first people to say, look, you got to get this memo out. Now he's being vindicated. He said this thing is like a bombshell that he said is like FDR trying to stack the Supreme Court back in 1935. And he said this thing is really going to shake people up. What do you think?
Well, look, I think, number one, you have to release the memo, because I think what we've seen is that there have been a select group of people who have been operating inside the FBI for their own personal agenda and not the agenda of the American people. And look, John, I'm gravely concerned if part of the application for the FISA warrant was based on the false dossier that the Clinton campaign paid for the MI6 spy to go over to Russia and get this information. And if that did happen, then what do we think stopped the FBI and these individuals in power from spying on people like you or me? Look, our civil rights were very potentially violated, because what we've seen is the information, potentially, if it comes out, that they used for this FISA application was not disclosed properly and led to potentially getting a FISA warrant on a U.S. citizen on domestic soil, and that's a violation of the Fourth Amendment if they didn't do this properly, and I hope there's accountability.
Well, not only that, you're talking about surveilling a U.S. presidential candidate, Corey, in the middle of a campaign.
And our staff, by the way.
And the whole staff.
John and me and my team, without telling us, all for their own personal benefit, for their own personal desires here. This had nothing to do with national security. Can you imagine for 1 second, just 1 second, if we saw this taking place in a foreign country and we saw a candidate running for the highest office of their land and their government was spying on that candidate to see if they could dig up dirt and put a narrative together that they had done something illegal, we'd be called the kangaroo court. We'd be calling these guys and saying that those people should be in jail. And if these people did what potentially is in this memo, they should go to jail. And that includes the integrity of the senior officers of the FBI, from McCabe, who is now out, to Comey, who is now out. What we've seen, this goes back to the people like John Connolly, who was the FBI agent in charge of a guy by the name of Whitey Bulger. There are bad players over there sometimes, and they need to be brought to justice.
Well, I think that's going to happen. And, I was thinking about the judge. I mean, put yourself in the shoes of the FISA court judge. Now, you have to believe that the judges in the United States, the overwhelming majority of them, they're there for the right reasons. So you're a judge on a secret FISA court, and you're presented false information that you're told by, and it had to be a government official, right? High-ranking officials, plural,
yes,
being told that it comes from the U.S. intel. It's been vetted. And now you find out that they knew it came from a private contracting company doing Oppo research, paid by the Clinton machine and the National Democratic Party, and they lied to you, and you signed this eavesdropping warrant against private citizens and a presidential candidate based on false information. If you're that judge right now, Corey Lewandowski, what are you thinking?
Look, that judge, I bring those people before me, ask them if they lied to me under oath when they made this application, because they need to swear to it. It's my understanding that Rod Rosenstein, who is now the Deputy Attorney General, is familiar with the application because he had to be part of this. McCabe was part of this. Comey was part of this. And if that is the case, and they provided information that was not accurate, or they did not disclose something that they were supposed to, then they are no better than any other criminal out there, and they should be held accountable. I'll tell you, I'm very concerned that not only was candidate Trump potentially spied on, my entire team, myself, the guys who work every day, night and day to help Donald Trump get elected, and if the FBI has ongoing active investigations on us, I want to know about it, and I'm going to hold people accountable.
Well, you ought to do that. I mean, it's a sad statement in today's environment that we're in. It really is. And I tell you what, I was really taken aback when Congressman Rooney just 30 minutes ago said, John, when this comes out, it is like FDR in 1935 trying to pack the Supremes. It's like Andrew Jackson in the 1800s when he tried basically to take over the entire bureaucracy and make it pay to play. So, I mean, those are some pretty serious allegations. And he's the guy that was first calling for this memo to be released. So this could really shake things up, Corey, as it goes down. Okay, let's get to Pittsburgh and the special election coming up in a few weeks. I talked to the RNC yesterday. They said that the Republican there in the special has a slight lead. I know you've looked at it. How do you feel about it?
Well, look, it's a race where the Democrats have recruited the very best candidate they can in that race. It is a race that historically has been held by a Republican. That's been a Republican seat since the year 2000, so the last 18 years. It is a seat that has a little bit of a Democrat lean from a registration side, but those are really the Trump Democrats. Those are the steel workers and coal miners and the blue-collar people of Western Pennsylvania. So, and the other part of this is the Republican National Committee, the NRCC, which is the Congressional Committee's arm, and super PACs now funding that to ensure that the candidate of the Republican is going to hold that seat. Because, look, this could potentially be a bellwether seat. And if the Republicans don't hold that seat, then it will be potentially a precursor to where things are going in the November election. And you have to remember, with the announcement yesterday of Rodney Frelinghuysen from New Jersey saying he won't be seeking re-election, I think that brings us to 33 incumbent members of Congress from the Republican Party who've either decided they won't seek re-election or are seeking election to a different office. And the Democrats only have to win 25 seats. And that is well within their grasp if we don't have our act together.
Well, it's going to be an interesting seat. I think we hold it. I think we win. But, the Democrats putting a lot of money in it, and they have the opportunity to do this in these specials. They've tried it in Topeka, Kansas. They tried it in Georgia. They failed there. But they were successful with the weird circumstances going on with Moore in Alabama. Corey Lewandowski, I want to thank you for your time today. Final question, though, before we take off. The media is saying that obstruction of justice because the president in a rant might have talked about firing Robert Mueller, but now the White House officials disputing this. Is this just more fake news?
You know what this is, John? This is a mainstream media that has heard from every source possible, including Democrats on the Judiciary Committee of the Senate side, that there is no collusion with Russia and the Trump campaign. They hate that narrative, so they want to move to the next narrative, which is also a false narrative. So this is not giving the president the credit he deserves and trying to come up with a fake story to keep him on the defense, but the American people are smart and they see right through it.
All right, that's going to be the final word. We're out of time. Corey Lewandowski, former campaign manager, Trump for president. He's the guy that brought the Trump campaign to the forefront, won him the nomination. He is now a senior advisor at America First Policies, the #1 political action committee supporting the president's America First agenda. And most importantly, he's the author of the great book, which I'm in it, so you got to read it. Let Trump Be Trump, Let Trump Be Trump by Corey Lewandowski and Dave Bossie. Go to Amazon now and order it. And if you get it to me, I'll get him to sign it for you. Let Trump be Trump. Actually, Corey, I've got one right here in my studio I got to bring over today from one of our listeners that dropped it off. So go buy it now.
Bring it over,
Let
John.
Trump
I'll be happy to sign it.
be Trump. All right. Corey Lewandowski, thank you for your time.